The cold moons of Gustav IV cast a ghostly glow over the derelict colony, their light filtering through the broken skeletons of buildings that had once thrived with life. In the eerie silence, the elite Drydus Commando strike force, cloaked in the shadows of the night, advanced towards their objective. Captain Marcus Valerian, a figure of quiet authority, scanned the decrepit urban landscape through his night vision scope. His team, a unit of seasoned veterans handpicked for their skills in covert operations, moved with lethal precision behind him. "Remember, silence is your ally," Marcus whispered into the comlink, his voice barely audible. "Dragon's life depends on us getting in and out without alerting the whole nest." The commandos, their bodies clad in stealth-enhanced suits, nodded in understanding, their faces set in grim determination. Each man and woman carried a high-tech sidearm designed for maximum efficiency and minimum noise. Additional tools hung from their utility belts, everything from lockpicks to compact explosives for quick entries and exits. As they neared the first checkpoint, a dilapidated security outpost that marked the colony's boundary, Marcus signaled for a halt. He gestured to two of his team, Sophia and Jenkins, experts in silent takedowns. Sophia, her movements fluid and cat-like, crept forward, circling around the back of the outpost where a lone sentry stood watch. With a swift, practiced motion, she incapacitated the guard with a chokehold, gently lowering him to the ground before he could make a sound. "Clear," she whispered into her comm, her voice as calm as if she were discussing the weather. Marcus led the team forward, weaving through the shadowy ruins. Every step was measured, every breath controlled. The colony, abandoned years ago after a catastrophic reactor failure, was supposed to be uninhabited, but now served as a makeshift prison for the captured Senator Lucius Dragon. They reached the central plaza, a wide-open space that had once been a bustling market. Now it lay empty, save for the ghostly whispers of wind stirring through broken glass and twisted metal. Marcus eyed the surrounding buildings, noting their potential as enemy sniper nests. "Fan out." "Eyes up," he instructed, pointing to the higher windows. "Rook, take point. Everyone else, 360 coverage." The team spread out, their training evident in the seamless execution of their movements. Rook, the youngest member but sharp as they came, led the way towards what used to be the administrative building, where intelligence suggested Dragon was being held. As they approached, a sudden crackle of energy split the air, a warning shot that fizzled against the ancient concrete a few feet from Marcus's head. "Contact," he hissed, dropping to a crouch. The team instantly followed suit, taking cover behind anything that would offer protection. "Snipers," 2 o'clock, Rook called out, pinpointing the source of the shot. Without hesitation, Marcus peered around his cover, sighting his sidearm with precision enhanced by years of conflict. A breath, a pause, and then he fired a single shot that silenced the enemy threat with a muted thud. "Move up," Marcus ordered, pushing forward as the team quickly regrouped and advanced on the building. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the smell of old decay. The commandos moved room to room, clearing each corner with methodical thoroughness. Their progress was silent but swift, a dance of shadows as they drew closer to their target. Finally, they reached the door behind which they believed Dragon was being held. Marcus exchanged a glance with his team, a shared moment of readiness, before nodding to Jenkins, who set a small charge to blow the lock. The explosion was soft, controlled, and in the next moment they were inside, weapons at the ready, prepared to face whatever awaited them on the other side. The heart of the abandoned colony was eerily quiet as Captain Marcus Valerian and his elite commandos approached the central compound, a dilapidated structure that had been repurposed into a makeshift prison. The night's oppressive silence was only broken by the soft rustle of their stealth suits against the broken gravel underfoot. "Keep it tight and watch the corners. Expect heavy resistance inside," Marcus whispered, leading his team with a cautious eye. They moved in a compact formation, each member scanning a segment of the dark horizon with practiced precision. The building loomed before them, its facade scarred by the ravages of time and conflict. Using a series of hand signals, Marcus directed Sophia and Jenkins to the front to breach the entrance. They placed a silent explosive charge on the door, a sophisticated device designed to blow the lock without alerting the entire compound. With a soft thud, the door eased open, and the team slipped inside. Their goggles switched to thermal view, painting the world in hues of blue and orange, highlighting the body heat of their foes. Almost immediately, The quiet was shattered by the crack of a disruptor rifle. The commandos dropped to the ground as beams of energy sliced through the air where they had stood moments before. Contact front. Multiple hostiles. Jenkins barked, returning fire with his compact sidearm. The confined space echoed with the sounds of gunfire, each shot a deafening roar in the tight corridors. Marcus peered around a corner, spotting several rebels fortified behind makeshift barriers. Flank them. Rook, with me. Sophia, Jenkins, suppression fire. The ensuing firefight was intense and claustrophobic. Marcus and Rook crept along a side passage, using the chaos as cover to circle behind the enemy. They emerged behind the rebels, catching them off guard. The fight was brutal but brief, with Marcus's team displaying lethal efficiency. With the immediate threat neutralized, they advanced deeper into the compound. The layout was a maze of cells and barred enclosures, a grim reminder of its current purpose. Their Sophia pointed towards a heavily fortified cell at the far end of the hall. That's got to be where they're holding Dragon. The team approached cautiously, Marcus checking each adjoining cell. As they reached the senator's cell, the door swung open abruptly, and a final group of rebels charged out. The commandos reacted instantly, their training taking over, their shots precise, leaving the attackers crumpled on the floor in seconds. Inside the cell, they found Senator Lucius Dragon, his clothing disheveled and face bruised, but his eyes burning with an unquenched fire. "It's about time," he rasped, his voice tinged with both relief and frustration. "I knew the Confederation wouldn't leave me to these curs." "We're here to get you out," Sir Marcus said, stepping into the cell to help the senator to his feet. "Can you walk?" "Yes, I can walk. And I can fight, if it comes to that," Dragon insisted, his tone defiant as he accepted a spare sidearm from Marcus. As they prepared to move out, Dragon shared critical intelligence he had overheard while captive. "The rebels have more forces stationed at the north end of the compound. They're planning an ambush on your extraction route." Change of plans, Marcus decided quickly, processing the new information. "We'll take the south passage out. It's longer, but with your intel it might just be safer." With Dragon now among their ranks, the team retraced their steps through the compound, each member vigilant and ready for the challenges of the escape. The senator, despite his ordeal, moved with a sturdy determination, bolstered by the protection of Marcus's team. As they neared the exit, the reality of their mission's success began to settle in. They had faced fierce resistance and overcome it with their skill and teamwork. But the mission wasn't over until they were all safely back on Drydus soil. The team, led by Captain Valerian, moved into the moonlit night, their spirits lifted by the victory but cautious of the road ahead. The night air was charged with tension as Captain Marcus Valerian and his elite commando team, with Senator Lucius Dragon in tow, hurried towards the designated extraction point on the outskirts of the abandoned colony. The ground beneath their feet was uneven, littered with the remnants of a once thriving settlement, now just a ghost of its past. "We're not clear yet," Marcus said, his voice low as they navigated through the debris. "Keep the pace, but stay sharp. They'll be coming for us." The rebels, realizing their high-value captive was slipping away, were indeed in hot pursuit. The sound of their approach was a distant thunder, growing steadily louder as they closed in on the commandos. Senator Dragon, despite his recent captivity, kept up with the vigorous pace, his expression steely and determined. "I didn't think I'd be sprinting through ruins at my age," he quipped, though the strain was evident in his voice. "Just a bit further," Sir Sophia replied, offering an encouraging smile. "We've got a warm welcome planned for our followers." As they reached the extraction zone, a clearing marked by the charred skeleton of a downed transport from earlier skirmishes, Marcus didn't hesitate. He immediately called in the air support, speaking quickly into his comm. "This is Valerian. We need those strikes now. Authorization code Delta 49. High above the planet's surface. A Drydus Confederation battleship received the call. Within moments, the night sky lit up as multiple orbital strikes were launched, their aim precise, their payload devastating. The ground shook, and bright flashes illuminated the landscape as the surrounding area where the rebels were converging was obliterated. Massive plumes of fire and smoke soared into the sky, a destructive ballet that sealed the fate of the abandoned colony and ensured no enemy could use it as a stronghold again. "Let's move," Marcus shouted over the roar, gesturing to the team to board the waiting high-speed transport that had just touched down. The sleek vessel's doors opened, and the team, along with the senator, quickly climbed aboard. Inside, the cabin was stark and utilitarian, the hum of the engines a comforting constant as they lifted off from the surface. Senator Dragon strapped himself into a seat, his gaze fixed on the window, watching the fiery spectacle they had left behind. As the adrenaline of the escape began to ebb, the reality of their narrow escape settled in. The team sat in relative silence, each person lost in their thoughts, reflecting on the mission's successes and the inevitable losses of war. Marcus, ever vigilant, watched his team and the senator, his mind already turning to the reports he would need to file, the debriefings, the inevitable political repercussions. But more than that, he thought about the men and women under his command, their bravery, their sacrifices. Senator Dragon finally broke the silence. "Captain Valerian, I owe you and your team my life. I've seen many things in my years, but the courage you've shown today is something I won't soon forget." Marcus nodded, acknowledging the compliment with a grim smile. "We did our duty, sir, for the Confederation. For Drydus." The flight back to the capital was uneventful yet tense, the quiet giving way to introspective contemplation. As the lights of the capital city came into view, piercing the darkness, the mood shifted subtly from relief to resolve. They had achieved their mission, but the war continued, and each victory was another step in a much larger struggle. Touching down on the capital's main military airstrip, Marcus felt a solid sense of accomplishment, but recognized the fleeting nature of peace. They had won the day, but tomorrow would bring new challenges. For now, though, they had ensured a key political figure returned safely, potentially changing the tide of conflict in their favor. The impact of their actions tonight would resonate far beyond the fiery destruction of an abandoned colony. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe. See you for our next sci-fi adventure.